Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. I'm coming to you from Radio Row here at Super Bowl week here in New Orleans, Louisiana here. First up on today's show, trade for Cooper Kupp. Should GM Adam Peters make a move for the former All-Pro wide receiver after the LA Rams put him on the open market last night? Then also there are two teams that are targeting backup quarterback for the Washington Commanders last year, Marcus Mariota. I'll reveal who those two teams are, and there's one team in particular I'm pretty worried about. But before we get into the content today, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you want the Philadelphia Eagles, who beat this team in the NFC Championship game, to lose in the Super Bowl versus the Kansas City Chiefs, F the Eagles down there in the chat. With that, let's get into the content here, starting with Cooper Kupp. And the Rams have informed the former All-Pro receiver that they are going to be looking to trade him, quote-unquote, immediately. Cooper Kupp ended up posting on X yesterday. We'll break down what he said in just a second. But today we're going to be talking about whether or not Adam Peters, the GM of the Washington Commanders, should make a move for Cooper Kupp, pairing him with Scary Terry McLaurin and, of course, Jayden Daniels to really bolster this wide receiver group heading into the 2025 season. So if a trade goes down, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're going to be giving you guys breaking news coverage every time there's a big move surrounding the Washington Commanders during the 2025 offseason. Of course, we're going to have extensive coverage for you guys right here from Radio Row as well, so make sure you click that subscribe button. So here's what Cooper Kupp posted on his X late last night, just before opening night at the Super Bowl. I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believed it was going to begin and end in L.A. So you take a look at Cooper Kupp's profile here. He's not getting any younger. He is 31 years old. He'll be 32 next season, and he's still brings some good size to the table, 6'2", 194 pounds. And, I think that he brings a lot of good run blocking. He gets open over the middle of the field quite frequently. And, even though Puka Nacua took over for him as the number one receiver there with Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and the Los Angeles Rams, I do think that he could provide a really nice number two wide receiver presence in this offense, along with Jayden Daniels and, of course, Terry McLaurin, who I think is going to get a massive contract extension this offseason. So his veteran presence to be a true number two guy that's got slot versatility that can certainly be an asset in the slot as a run blocker, I think is something that could certainly intrigue offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury, head coach Dan Quinn, and of course GM Adam Peters. And, I think that the issue with Cooper Kupp is not necessarily the player. He could certainly help the Washington Commanders. The issue is he worth the price tag that you are going to have to take on if you trade for him? As it currently stands with his current contract, if the Commanders end up trading for him this offseason and they don't rework the deal, and if the Rams don't take on any additional money, the Commanders would be on the hook for $20 million for an aging former star receiver and then $19.85 million over the next season in 2026. That really is the big question. Is Cooper Kupp still worth this kind of money, despite some diminishing returns in terms of the production? You guys can see here he's had a really tough time staying on the field. Just 9 games played in 2022 and then 12 games played in the last 2 seasons. And because of that, you guys can see that the production isn't nearly what it was back in 2021 when, of course, the Rams won the Super Bowl, and he had arguably the greatest season any receiver has ever had in the history of the National Football League. Now, what I think is going to happen here, guys, is that, the Rams will find a partner to get Cooper Kupp, but whatever team ends up trading for him, they're going to rework the contract, add another year, add void years, whatever they need to do to lower that cap hit, because $20 million for what is essentially a really good number two receiver right now is just too much money. And at the end of the day, it's very possible that none of these teams even want to try and rework this contract, and the Rams just end up cutting him, and he'll be available in free agency at some point this offseason. Now, when it comes to the trade value that I think that he's probably worth is what I would offer is a 5th-round pick. All right, that is what I think that an aging former star receiver should go for. I don't think that the Commanders, an up-and-coming football team that really wants to continue to invest in young talent to fill out this roster, should spend a day 2 draft pick on Cooper Kupp. At the very most, you send a 4th-round pick for Cooper's services if you do want to make him a Washington Commander. But at the end of the day here, guys, I'm just not sure if this is going to be the best possible price that the Rams are going to get, but this is what I would offer if I were in charge of the Commanders. So let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this trade if you were in charge of the burgundy and gold? Type A for accept or D for decline. 5th-round pick for Cooper Kupp. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when they do, take advantage of that time by giving me an A or a D down there in the comments section. Personally, guys, I would keep my focus in terms of a trade on Myles Garrett. I think that right now, what you need to focus on is bolstering up your defense. The offense is all right. You got Jayden Daniels. You got Terry McLaurin. You got Kliff Kingsbury calling the plays. You do need to make some adjustments to the offense, but I don't know if you necessarily need to make a big trade for a guy like Cooper Kupp. If you're going to make a big trade for somebody, go on and get arguably the best defensive player in the National Football League. You guys can check out my video on Myles Garrett and why I think he's the most likely, or the Commanders are the most likely team that he will be traded to this offseason. I'm going to put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. So coming up here, we're going to talk some Marcus Mariota and whether or not he's going to be out the door. Could he get a chance to be a bridge starting quarterback for an NFL team in 2025? Well, there's 2 teams that are interested. We'll break those 2 teams down here in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at PrizePicks, which is the best place to get real money sports action for the big game. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You guys can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. PrizePicks is also giving away a free pick for the big game where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. So, for example, guys, you can take the free square here on Patrick Mahomes, then you just pick one other play there. Let's say A.J. Brown anytime touchdown. And then if you get that one right, you guys get to win some money with our friends at PrizePicks. So download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the PrizePicks app today. PrizePicks, run your game. So could Marcus Mariota be on his way out of the nation's capital? Both the Raiders and Dolphins are reportedly interested in the Commanders' backup quarterback in 2024. And given the way Mariota played, you can kind of see why. You guys can compare Marcus Mariota's career numbers to what he did in 2024 with the Washington Commanders, and it's not even close, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I really attribute a lot of this, guys, to the VR technology that the Washington Commanders implemented this year when they drafted Jayden Daniels. Marcus Mariota has also spoken about how this technology has helped his mental processing. He feels more comfortable out there, and you guys can see the results. His production jumped a lot. Now, yes, it is a short, kind of a small sample size there. Didn't play in a ton of games this year, but the interception percentage didn't have a single interception all season long. Threw a lot of touchdowns, 3 touchdowns in the second half alone against the Dallas Cowboys in the season finale. And because of that, I think that Marcus Mariota could potentially get a chance to be a bridge quarterback for a team looking to draft a rookie in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, the team to worry about in terms of poaching Marcus Mariota away from the Commanders is the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, and the reason why I say that is because, of course, it's the Raiders. They're gonna pick up, a lackluster quarterback in free agency. Gardner Minshew, others, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, they got a history of this now. But Vegas just hired Chip Kelly, former Oregon Ducks head coach and the former head coach for Marcus Mariota back in college, as their offensive coordinator. So if they're looking to draft a guy like Shedeur Sanders, and they're trying to make a move for Sanders out of Colorado this year, what better move than to go get the former quarterback for the Oregon Ducks, Marcus Mariota, who just played the best football of his career this year, to be his bridge quarterback. So I do think that the report that the Raiders are interested in Marcus Mariota is absolutely something that could absolutely happen for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think that it would be a good fit. I think if you are trying to get Shedeur Sanders and you want him to go and you want him to start eventually, getting a guy like Marcus Mariota who's going to be a good mentor to him, just like he was to Jayden Daniels, all those different things. Maybe win a couple football games for the Raiders this year. Certainly something that could happen if that is the case. Now, my take on Marcus Mariota is I would love for him to be back as this team's backup. I think, he proved this year if Jayden Daniels goes down with an injury, he can come in and he can be a very, very serviceable starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders inside this offense. So I would love for him to stay. But when it comes to the Raiders, I really do think they may be interested in making him their bridge quarterback, at least for this next season, as they groom their next franchise quarterback of the future there in Las Vegas. But for me personally, I would love to see Marcus Mariota stay right here in the nation's capital. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will Mariota be a Commander in 2025? Simply give me a prediction. Yes or no, will Marcus be here next year? Give me your answer down there in the comment section. And that's going to be it for today's edition of the Commanders Report by Chat Sports. We're going to have extensive coverage for you guys right here from Radio Row here in New Orleans all throughout the week. So make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss a moment.